honourable member for Abbotsford.
Well, Canadians are stressed. Paychecks don't buy what they used to. In fact, the cost of everything, gasoline, groceries, housing, is at all-time highs. Families are getting left behind. So last April, I wrote to the minister to warn her of exactly that. I highlighted the dangers of uncontrolled borrowing and how excessive stimulus spending would stoke inflationary pressures. She either doesn't care or didn't read my letter. So to the minister, what specifically is she doing to get inflation under control?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives continue, actually in all aspects of Canadian life, to put forward a false narrative. And the latest false narrative we've just been hearing today is about the economy. The reality is that the Canadian economy is recovering strongly from the COVID recession. In the third quarter, our GDP grew by 5.4%. That is higher than the US, Japan, the UK, and Australia. And you know what, Mr. Speaker? When it comes to our debt-to-GDP ratio, our AAA credit rating was reaffirmed in the fall by S&P and Moody's.
The honourable member for Abbotsford.
Well, we will never get inflation under control as long as that minister keeps borrowing and spending like there's no tomorrow. Not only did the minister ignore our concerns, she also ignored the warnings of the parliamentary budget officer, who questioned the wisdom of her stimulus spending, pumping more money into the economy when the cost of living is skyrocketing. This minister is making this crisis worse. This problem is not transitory. Month by month, the inflation numbers are going up. When will the minister finally do something to protect Canadians against the skyrocketing cost of living?
Right to the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
You know, Mr. Speaker, the real question is, when will the Conservatives stick with a policy or stick with a leader? Because I was on the campaign trail in the summer, and so were the members opposite, and they actually campaigned on proposed government spending higher than our own proposal. We proposed a deficit for 21-22 of $156.9 billion. They campaigned on a proposed deficit of $168 billion. So I wonder if the party of flip-flops can tell Canadians where they stand today.
The honourable member for Kelowna Lake Country.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The excise escalator tax increase will crush wineries, breweries, cideries, and distilleries' bottom line. The excise escalator tax is automatic. And here's the kicker. It's based on the CPI index, meaning because inflation is so high, the tax will be even higher than ever before starting April 1st. This tax is based on inflation. It's taxing inflation, which will make inflation go up even more on these important value-added agricultural products. So will the Liberals commit to cancel this inflationary excise tax increase?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
You know, Mr. Speaker, it is a bit rich of the Conservatives to be talking about supporting small businesses of any kind in this country. After all, Mr. Speaker, this is the party which, when we, before Christmas, proposed absolutely essential support for small business to help them get through Omicron, what did the Conservatives do at that crucial moment? They voted against our measures. So really, Mr. Speaker, we will take no lessons about supporting business from them.
The honourable member for Kelowna Lake Country.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. That wasn't an answer to my question at all. When Canadian winery, brewery, cidery, and distillery workers wake up and owners on April 1st, they'll be hit with this automatic tax increase on excise thanks to the Liberals. 95% of these producers are small businesses who have already been hit with payroll tax increases, labor shortages, increases in debt, and slower sales due to perpetual lockdowns. Now is not the time to be increasing any taxes on small businesses. So will the Liberals cancel this bad April Fool's Day tax increase?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, let me tell you what hurts Canadian small businesses. What hurts Canadian small businesses is when, solely for the sake of partisan question. People who were elected to this House to support the small businesses in their communities oppose the small business support that small businesses themselves are calling for. And you know what else has hurt Canadian businesses, small ones and big ones too? The blockade of the Ambassador Bridge.
Exactly.
And members on that side of the House were giving succor and encouragement to those blockades. That is unacceptable, Mr. Speaker.